Alright, we're going to go over some of the functions on the board here. I'm just going to go down the list in the guide and we can refer back to that whenever we need to. First thing you're going to need to do is turn on or turn off the board. In order to do that, you're going to push this button if it's already off. If you're trying to turn it off, you're going to hold this button down until it blinks, then you're going to push the button again. If you don't push the button again, it will just go back to the solid green color and the board will stay on. In order to mute and turn on musicians, the easiest way I've found is to just hit these green buttons. So channel 1 is now off, channel 1 is now on. If you ever see them lit up in red like this, that means you've hit a mute group. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so calling up a preset. I've already got the preset menu up right here. In order to pull that up, you're going to hit this Q list button right here. Once you hit that, it will pull this screen up. In order to select a preset, all you have to do is use this scroll wheel here, highlight the one you want to use. I'm going to go to the IAMs one, and click the wheel by pushing it down and it will pull up the preset. Make sure your hands are free of the board whenever you do any of this because these faders will move. Like I'll show you right here. So for example, I just messed that up. Hit the button and they move. So make sure you keep your hands clear, otherwise you can either burn out some motors or change some settings that you're not willing and wanting to change. To update a preset, all you have to do is come back up to the screen whenever you're on a preset and using one, hit the update button, and that will update with whatever new settings you've already inputted into the board through the faders, other settings, blah blah blah, whatever. To store a new preset, what you're going to do is you're going to come down here to the store button right here. You hit that, and I'll just run you through this real quick. So I just hit that button. See that on the screen, what just came up, this unnamed snapshot 36. In order to mess with that, you're going to hit this edit queue button, click the wheel, and you can name it whatever you want using the touch screen. Since we don't need that one, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. Okay, so adjusting faders, just going down the list here. This is really simple. You want to make something louder, slide it up. You want to make it quieter, slide it down. Pretty simple stuff. Just make sure you keep your hands free and clear. If you accidentally bump a group of them like that, just go back up to your preset. There you go. And all my mistakes were just fixed. It's like magic. Adjusting the gain, I'd recommend you only do this if you have to, which you shouldn't have to. Everything should already be preset. But if you're adding in a new microphone, you might have to. In order to do that, just turn this knob right here. It's set on gain right now. You can also change it to reflect pan and whatever else you want to set it to. Right now it's on gain. So if I turn this, you'll see more of the lights light up, which means I just raised the gain. Look over here at the screen. Whenever I turn that knob, you can see the gain thing pull up. So that's how you know you're adjusting gain and not pan or something else. I'm just going to undo all of my changes that I just did each time I do one so I don't get lost. Adjusting the EQ, also pretty simple. What you're going to need to do is you're going to select the channel that you want to adjust it for using these select buttons. So let's look at the guitar. We're on guitar 1 here. So here's our EQ settings that just popped up here. If I switch instruments, you can see how they change based on whatever one you're selecting. So select the instrument you want to change. Make sure you've got it selected. You don't want to mess up and change the wrong instrument. You can adjust all these by using the knobs here. This one will adjust the amount of boost you're putting in at whatever frequency you've got it set at here. This Q button, which only works for the high mids and the low mids, will adjust how wide of a frequency you're changing. And I like to do this graphically by pulling up the graphic EQ right here. So that's guitar 1. That's what we're looking at. You can see this changes when I cycle through instruments as well. So here we are at guitar 1. If I want to make a change over here to the low mids, I just sweep this wheel and there's your change. You can also do the same thing with the Q. I'll change my width to make it wider. You can see how my line changes based on that Q setting. High mids are the exact same deal. For high frequencies, you can change the frequency that it adjusts it at. You cannot change the width of the adjustment. You can just change how much you're adjusting and where. Same thing with the low frequency down here. So I almost updated that. That would have been bad. Compression. Your compression settings are right here. I vastly prefer to do this in the app because it just makes a lot more sense to me there. So I'll show you how to do that in the app. But if you want to turn it on or off, here's your on and off. Your noise gate is here, as is your high pass filter. So the monitors are all of these mix buttons here. See if I can get that to actually focus. There we go. So that's all your mix buttons there. In order to get to those, you just, again, keep your hands clear. And I'll show you what happens when you do that. Okay, all the faders will move. So here's everything that we've got set up to be in mix 1. We've got a lot of the drums, and you've also got to make sure you're on the right page. So right now we're looking at the instruments. That's the vocal channel. I think I forgot to show you how to change that. In order to pick the correct page, just use this fader A or B button. B gets you to the vocals, and the microphones. A gets you to all the instruments. So you just make your adjustments like you would a fader. If you want to add more of guitar 3, you just slide guitar 3 up. Slide it back down and make it quieter. So all of your mix channels are right here. We've got everything up through 8 set up. Mix 9 is your recording mix. This is everything we're sending to the record. Pretty much just the compressor mics and pastor's mic, because that's really all we're recording right now. So if you want to add something, slide the fader, slide it back down. Let's see. Okay, playing media through a peripheral device. All you'll have to do, you can see these comp or DVD settings here. All you need to do is play your media either through the computer or whatever you've got it plugged into. Slide this up and it will come through the speakers. Slide it down and it will go away. And I believe everything else is in the video about the app, so we'll just go ahead and stop there. And I might add more to this later.